If Rio is going all out and spending money faster than they can print it, it tells us something, it tells investors something, that they're seeing things.
They see huge potential here. The comparable project to this is a deposit called Udakan in Siberia, 58 billion pound copper deposit, 1 billion ounce silver deposit. That's the kind of potential that they see.
Hello and welcome to Crux Investor. First of all, thank you very much for watching this video. Do remember to give us a thumbs up if you like it. And of course, please leave us your comments. We do enjoy reading those and we do get back to absolutely everyone. And if you haven't already done so, please click the button in the corner of the screen to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to see more videos like this, please click the notification bell. Anyway, today we spoke with Rick Mazur, who's the CEO and President of Forum Energy Metals. They're an early stage exploration play in Canada. They've got 3 assets, 2 of which they've farmed out, one to Orano, one to Rio Tinto. So exalted company indeed. And the third they are looking to develop themselves. We talk about their business plan, their cash requirements and cash constraints, and the reality of running an exploration business. We talk about a few other topics as well. Take a look in the description below to look at those, and if you'd like to get into that, please click the timestamp beside that and it'll take you to that part of the video. Anyway, let's hear what Rick had to say. Hello Rich, how are you, sir?
Very good, and yourself, Matt?
Not too bad, not too bad. Thanks for joining us. I know it's early there, so I appreciate you coming on and telling us this story so early in the morning. Why don't we kick off with our 1-minute summary for people new to this, and we'll pick it up from there.
Oh, terrific. So Forum Energy Metals. I started this company in 2004 as Forum Uranium, and we focused on the uranium business in the Athabasca Basin of Saskatchewan, and developed a number of great drill-ready targets, which are currently in inventory, because in 2017, we decided to diversify our business into energy metals, and we started that off with the acquisition of our Janice Lake Sedimentary Copper Project.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, I just want to, before we kind of get into all of this, you mentioned that you started originally as a uranium play and then kind of segued into the sort of energy metals side of things. Why? You know, what was the logic there? I mean, the original business started 2004. The segue happened in 2017. What was happening in uranium that made you change your mind, or was it down to an opportunity that you couldn't resist?
Yeah, well, the uranium business was quite active from 2004 up until 2011 when the Fukushima incident happened, and we thought that the uranium business might recover from that, but as we all know, it's taken a lot longer than most people expected. We continued in our advancing our uranium properties in the Athabasca Basin through till about 2016. Continued drilling some of our projects, doing groundwork on a number of our properties, but we found it was increasingly more difficult to raise money to advance the projects, and we realized that to give our shareholders something, we needed to diversify into the energy metals business, which is certainly gaining a lot of traction.
Yeah, well, yes, yeah, it was and is and continues to gain traction. It's almost every story we talk to at the moment. Everyone wants to put something inside a battery. Okay, so what's happened with those uranium assets? Have you parked them up?
Well, we spent enough money on them so that we can maintain them for many, many years to come, and hopefully the uranium business will turn around and we can either option them to partners or advance them ourselves. But there are still people that are out there looking for uranium, and in October of last year, we announced an option on one of our properties, the Fir Island Uranium property, that we optioned to Orano, which was formerly called Areva, the French nuclear corporation, and they are going to spend $6 million on the project to earn 70% interest in that project, and we're starting a drill up this weekend.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so you've got a bunch of uranium projects, licenses, permits, which you've taken to various stages. One of them you've optioned to Orano. So it's not just an option for them. They're actually going to start spending money on behalf of you and they this weekend.
That this weekend. In December, last December, they spent $500,000 on a resistivity survey, which was just another layer of geophysical information that they wanted before they started spending their dollars on further drilling of the prospect. This week we start. This weekend we start a 3,000 meter drill program, which will cost about $1 million, all funded by Orano. We think this is a tremendous discovery opportunity. Orano has the McLean Lake mill in the vicinity of our Fir Island project, and they're going to need future mill feed.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a big mill. The reason I'm intrigued by this because we have spoken to a couple of juniors where Orano has optioned, but they're not spending the cash. So you're saying they've spent $500,000, they're going to plow $1 million into actual drilling. Are they doing that, or are you doing that? Who's doing the actual drilling?
We're the operator of this of this particular option joint venture. Mm-hmm. Not many junior companies get to do that, get to spend a major's dollar. But our VP Exploration, Ken Wheatley, has a tremendous track record for discoveries of uranium deposits in the Athabasca Basin, and Orano's very comfortable in allowing us forum to operate the project.
Great news. And so, how does that spend manifest itself over? You know, they've got $6 million to earn 70%. They've got to spend that within what time frame? You said?
Yeah, that's within 4 years. It's $1.5 million. 4 years, $1.5 million a year.
Right. Okay. And you feel, with conversations that you've had with them, they are going to do that. They are encouraged by what they've seen so far with this. Yeah,
absolutely. They've when we first drilled it in 2015, they were quite intrigued by the results, and we continued on with a couple of surface surveys in the following years. And they first approached us for a joint venture in 2017.
So how much value do you think you're getting on that? Because your market cap today is around $10 million. If I go back, only 3 months, it was half of that. So how much value are you getting for the uranium component today, do you think, or specifically that uranium component?
Well, we should get more, because I do believe that this is a discovery opportunity. As I said, in 2015, when we drilled it, we were getting tremendous results. So to answer your question, we're getting zero value for it.
Right.
Absolutely zero.
Okay.
It's just unfortunately, investors' interest in the uranium sector has waned. But when we make a discovery, that's going to change the valuation of our company, for sure.
So it'd be fair to say you're not getting any value for any of the uranium assets which you developed from 2004 through to 17. Okay, so that's...
I believe that, for sure.
Right, okay. So the 10 million is being attributed to the Janice Lake Copper Silver Project, you would say?
Yeah, definitely. Once we entered into the option to joint venture agreement with Rio Tinto last May, in May of 2019,
Yeah.
that's when we finally got some recognition as to the value
Right.
and quality of our assets.
Let me come back to that because I just want to finish off on Fir Island, because I think when I was to package that up and then park it to one side, which is so Orano will do this work. It is early stage, uranium play. Uranium's doing what it's doing in the market, and people have varying degrees of expectation as to when that's going to come back. But it's exploration play nevertheless. This $6 million, when they have spent this money at some point over the next 3.5, 4 years, are you carried on the 30% that you have or will have?
No, that will be a straight 70-30 joint venture interest.
Right, and that's when it starts getting interesting. If it does go places, and I hope it does, you're going to need to be able to be in a position to raise capital, or you'll be diluted further. Is that the way it will work?
Yeah. Typical option joint venture sort of arrangement.
Right. But you would hope in 3 years' time that the uranium market has moved to at least allow you to recoup some of the capital outlay that you have made over the past few years at that point, if you can't raise the money. Right.
Yeah, for sure. If it is indeed a uranium, an unconformity uranium discovery, regardless of the market's situation in uranium, I do believe that there would certainly be a way to raise the capital to participate through many different means.
Okay. And mining's tough. All of those things are true, but you must be disappointed to put that amount of work into the uranium assets and for them not to, be able to monetize them some way, or get for people to see the value which you saw. You spent a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of dilution on those.
That was I mean. Listen, we're in the exploration and discovery business. We can't control the markets.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's talk about Janice Lake. Okay. Rio Tinto, everyone's dream partner, right? They got money.
Yeah.
So what have they seen? Why have they come in with this 30 million option to earn 80% of what you've got? What have you managed to find, do you think?
Yeah, well, this project in Saskatchewan has been known, or these copper showings have been known for a long time. Actually, finally, were drilled in the early 90s by Noranda, which ended up getting out of the business, and those are very intriguing results, but because of their change in business, it got left in the lurch. Picked up by Phelps Dodge in 2003, who drilled only six holes, and then they got taken over by Freeport-McMoRan, which they were porphyry copper guys, and then the Sedimentary Copper Project got sitting in inventory until 2012 when the claims lapsed, and a small junior picked them up, a company called Transition Metals, and they held it for some time until we came along in 2017 when we were searching for really good copper projects, and we did a deal and acquired the project 100%.
So give me some of those numbers. I mean, how much did you pay? How did you pay? Was it cash, paper?
The deal was 8 million shares of Forum, which at that time was trading at 5 cents, and $250,000 in cash in staged payments over 4 years.
Okay, interesting. Okay, now
that was the acquisition cost.
Okay, and how much have you spent since then?
So we did that deal in February, closed that deal February 2018. We drilled it ourselves in September 2018. I raised $400,000 in cash
Yeah.
to poke 4 holes into it, and got tremendous results. We got 50 meters of 0.5% copper with a 5-meter intercept of 2% copper, which all of a sudden, when I put out those results, I had every major copper producer knocking on my door. In March of 2019, which was literally a year later, I had a deal with Rio Tinto at the PDAC conference.
Okay, so but guys like that don't come knocking at the door unless you can show them scale, right? So the grades are great. But what were you able to tell them? What did they see? What do they know about the district? That ore body there. Why come and talk to you?
When we acquired the project from Transition, one of the things we did right off the bat was we acquired all of the geological potential that we could see at that time. That was mapped by the Saskatchewan Geological Survey. So the small little claim that we did the deal on, we ended up staking 25 kilometers further to the north, all the prospective geology. So we recognize that this was the type of project that did have scale. I mean, we're looking at something that is comparable to the Central African Copper Belt. So we know that we wanted to stake all of the sedimentary basin that we could to create a joint venture opportunity for a major.
Right. So let me come back to the numbers. Sorry. So far, I've got 250,000 cash. I've got 400,000 cash, and 8 million shares. But how much money did you spend from acquisition through to the deal being signed with Rio in March of 2019?
Out of that 250,000 cash as part of the acquisition, prior to Rio Tinto taking on the project, I made two $50,000 payments.
Yeah.
Out of that 250, and I spent $400,000 drilling it. That's it. I spent $500,000 cash to get a $30 million option.
That's impressive.
Thank you. I thought so too.
Good day at the office. So let's break that 30. Let's break that 30 million down. What does that actually mean? What does it convert into? So how much do they give you straight away? And how does it manifest itself over their option period?
So the deal was they were to spend. Okay, so this was starting. March is when we did the deal. May is when the definitive agreement, last May 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So from May of 2019, within 18 months, they were to spend $3 million on exploration.
How's that going?
They started drilling in July of 2019, literally 2 months later, and by the end of 2019, December 2019, all the bills are not in yet, but they've spent that $3 million already within 6 months.
Okay, and so what do they know? What do they now know?
Well, they drilled. That $3 million was spent by doing an high-resolution airborne magnetic survey over the full 50-kilometer extent of the basin.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, to get back to your question, I mean, they see the scale, the size, potential here. This is a district. This is just not one copper deposit. It's probably a number of deposits is the kind of potential we're looking at here. So it's a copper district, and they flew the whole 50-kilometer extent of the property. and they drilled 21 holes, and a little over 5,000 meters, just to see how things stuck together. And they were getting, they drilled 3 targets. 2 of them they focused on, called the Jansom and the Janice, 9 holes on each. And in those holes, they were getting 40 to 60 meter intercepts of anywhere from 0.2% to 0.7% copper over those intervals, and the continuity in each of the zones, which are basically 2 kilometers apart, hung together quite nicely. Yeah, we're getting good thicknesses, good grades, good continuity of copper mineralization.
Okay. Okay, so I mean that I'm surprised how quickly they move, because you always think big organizations have got lots of planning and paperwork and red tape, but 2 months from signing through to starting spending money, that's impressive. So they've spent $3 million. The proof's in the pudding. What are they doing next? When's that happening? How much are they spending? Or are they sitting back and evaluating what they've seen?
No, it is very impressive as how quickly Rio Tinto is moving on this. We learned in January that they got the permit to build a 99-kilometer winter haul road into the project area from there is a provincial highway about 60 kilometers away from the prospect, so infrastructure is actually pretty good. There's also a power line going right through the property.
Right.
But they got a permit to build a 99 kilometer winter haul road to haul in an 80-man camp.
How much does a haul road cost per kilometer? How much would they have spent on that? Again.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see the bills when they come in. But in the Canadian North, the best time to get around is in the winter time when the ground is frozen.
Right.
So they selected a quite a convenient route from the highway into where they're going to set up the camp on the property. The cost, yeah, I mean, you've got a bunch of dozers and things like that. You got to just make a road wide enough to bring all of the equipment in on the frozen ground. You got to it's probably going to cost $500,000, something like that, just to get the road in.
Okay, so it's not crazy money. What I'm looking for here is clues. If Rio is going all out and spending money faster than they can print it, it tells us something. It tells investors something, that they're seeing things. So I'm just trying to get a sense from you.
Well, they're seeing, yeah.
Right. So what are they doing? So the original the question I'd like you to come back to, which is, they spent the $3 million. They're going to spend $500,000 to say $1 million on this haul road. Have they told you what they're spending money on next? How much of this $30 million are they spending next, and by when?
Yeah, so the haul road is going in. There's 80-man camp. They're going to be moving in 3 core rigs. Last year they had 2 core rigs. This year they're going to have 3 core rigs and a RAB drill, which is a rotary air blast drill, to do some scout drilling. Mm-hmm. What they're seeing is that you're getting good open pittable grades of mineralization with and continuity of mineralization within the original showing area. And that's one very small footprint within the 50 kilometers of potential copper-bearing sediments on the property.
Right. Okay.
So they see huge potential here. We're talking about the comparable project to this is a deposit called Udakan in Siberia.
Mm-hmm.
Udakan is a 58 billion pound copper deposit, 1 billion ounce silver deposit. That's the kind of potential that they see at Janice Lake.
Right. So, and again, so I'm just coming back to how do I work out whether you're a good investment? So the clues are how quickly Rio get in here. Now, obviously, $30 million is just play money. It's option money for someone like Rio, but they'll stop spending money if they stop seeing the things that they're looking for. So they're looking for an Udakan type, what do you call it, super giant copper deposit. Are you part of any of this decision making, and do you sit back and get reports? I mean, are you in the field with them, or are they just cracking on without you? How's the relationship work, first of all?
Yeah, so they are the operator. Ken Wheatley, our VPX, was on the project this summer for a month, participating with the Rio Tinto crew in the work. Mm-hmm. We get real-time information from Rio Tinto as drilling goes on, and yeah, Rio Tinto's been really good in terms of getting us involved in technical aspects. Had several technical meetings, several visits to the property. We do have input. Forum has been operating in Saskatchewan for 15 years, so there's a lot of value in that, in our knowledge of the geology. So they've been very, very accommodating for sure.
Okay, and what's the next big announcement? Because I'm trying to get an idea of the rate of the spend from Rio, and what's the end point here? Like by the end of this season, what do they want to have achieved? What are you going to be able to tell us about this asset?
From the last announcement of what they're bringing in there, I see they spent over $3 million last year with 2 drill rigs moving in this camp. As well as fuel and supplies, probably not only for this summer's program and fall, but probably next winter in 2021. Tells me that they're going to be earning the deal was that they must spend $10 million within 3 years to earn 51%. They're going to probably get to that point this year.
Wow.
Within 1 year.
Okay.
So then it'll be up to them to. I think this, as you said, this is going to be certainly a pivotal year. They're going. I can't use that expression. They're going to go hard, really hard. They're going really hard at this, and decide whether they're going to go the next step to go to the full 30 million. But this is going to be a very, very large program, probably one of the top 3 or 4 exploration projects worldwide for Rio Tinto.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's a big statement.
So that's how important this project is, and the potential of this project, and yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell the investment community as best we can. This has huge.
It's big. Okay, you've got to wait to sort of see what they can announce after they've got all their equipment up there and they start drilling this thing more heavily. So this year, as you say, pivotal. It's a pivot moment. Can we talk about the third asset that you have, which is Love?
Oh, before we do that,
yeah,
actually,
sure.
so I think one important thing is that they probably will start drilling. We'll probably start the program in May. Not a couple of months from now. They'll probably start the program in May. They're going to be doing more airborne geophysics. They're going to be doing ground geophysics. They're going to be sending in a mapping and prospecting crew to examine the whole property, and they'll probably start drilling in June.
Okay, I guess that's the when the drill results come out is what people will be looking for. So if you guys can continue to deliver the grades that you have so far, it'll give some indication of success. Okay, well, let's park that. Love Lake. You've got Love Lake. What a great name, right? Nickel, copper.
I didn't. That's on the.
That's not yours. That's not yours. Okay. Nickel, copper, palladium. In fact, there's a commodity that people love at the moment as well. Because I noticed at the front of your presentation, your copper, nickel, cobalt, palladium, uranium. So, there's a lot going on there. You've got options, but you're choosing this farm out solution because obviously money's tight for juniors and especially explorers. It has been for the last 3 years. So I get the business mentality. The model makes sense. I guess it'd be great if you were carried, but you can't always get carried, right? So tell us about Love Lake. What's there? What do you know? What stage are you at?
Okay, well, once we did the deal with Rio Tinto, and we were already negotiating the on Fir Island, we generated 2 projects in copper and uranium to majors. We just thought, well, what next? What next can we give to our shareholders? And we decided to just start looking in our own backyard in Saskatchewan, and focusing on. Actually, it was just focusing on copper and nickel and cobalt targets within the province. Yeah. And lo and behold, we came across Love Lake, which was a completely different geological environment. It was a mafic ultramafic complex that has copper and nickel and platinum group metals associated with it. That had a lot of past exploration work done on it, predominantly for PGMs, and it was open for staking. So we staked 30,000 hectares of the property. We staked the whole intrusive complex.
Right. Why do you start? You guys seem to deal with big numbers. You like these big numbers. What makes you set out to say, I tell you what, let's do 30,000 hectares here? Did you say hectares? You did.
Hectares.
Yeah. I mean that's a lot of land, and a lot of time, and a lot of money, and a lot of effort required. I mean, what are you setting out to achieve when you do that?
Well, to attract major partners, they want to see major potential. World-class potential, and we think this particular piece of ground that we staked has been totally overlooked and underexplored. It has a number of platinum and palladium showings on it. Just been intermittently explored since the 80s, and we think it's a lot of similarities to Janice Lake. It's just been kind of overlooked, and so we staked the whole thing, and we're going to take a different exploration approach to it.
Right. Okay. So if we look at your first 2 projects, you brought in partners. They're putting cash in the ground. That's fine. What's happening? What's the plan here for Love Lake? Are you bringing someone else in, or do you continue to spend your own money to take it up to a certain point? I mean, give me a sense of how you plan these things out.
Okay, well, it's all dependent on markets. So the plan here for us is to we'll do some good surface work and airborne geophysical work to try and work up some drill targets this year. So that will start in the spring. We'd like to fly a high resolution magnetic survey over it, and then put boots on the ground for a couple of months during the summer and follow up on potential targets.
Yeah.
And line it up for drilling, and then will the money be there in a non-dilutive manner for us to go and drill it ourselves in the fall or the winter of 2021, or B, will we be able to also attract another major partner like an Implats or someone like that?
Right. Okay. Because obviously, I think people are getting excited about palladium. Palladium prices are high now, but it has been traditionally fairly volatile commodity. So so timing, where you are in the cycle and the timing, it's going to make a big difference. But can you tell me a little bit about you, because you don't walk in and go and get Orano and Rio Tinto by putting out a press release. You've got to have relationships, or have you been lucky and people have come running up to you, as you said, knocking on your door, and you've had minimal input into the success of those contracts? How's it work?
Well, I guess I've been in the business for over 40 years. So you develop relationships. Certainly the Rio Tinto relationship we had, because Rio Tinto is very committed to Saskatchewan. We had a joint venture with them on one of our uranium projects previously, and they're quite committed to diamond exploration in Saskatchewan as well. So we know them, and on the Orano side, we've been in the uranium business for 15 years, and my partner Ken Wheatley has been in it all of his life, over 35 years. So relationships get developed for sure in the uranium patch, and it's very small.
Right. So what's happening at Love Lake? Do you know who you're going to go and talk to?
Yeah, we got a pretty good idea. We'll be working the room at PDAC in a couple of weeks. Going to we'll pop around and see some of the major players and make them aware of what it is we have. It is a discovery opportunity, in that what people don't realize, and this is why Saskatchewan is overlooked for PGM potential. This is the second largest mafic, ultramafic intrusive complex in North America, second only to the Mid-Continent Rift of in Minnesota and Ontario, where there's been a lot of there's a number of deposits that have been discovered. There's no reason why in northern Saskatchewan that there aren't similar mineral deposits.
Okay.
The size is it helps.
Okay. Early days, a lot of work to do. You'll have some conversations.
True.
Let's talk about money. Okay. Your market cap, like I say, in the last 3-4 months, you've doubled the market cap. People are starting to hear this story, but it's still a small company. How much cash have you got, for instance, today?
Yeah, we have just under $300,000.
Right. I know you run a tight ship, but to do your work at Love Lake, for instance, and the G&A and salaries and all that sort of, are you going to need to raise some cash soon?
Soon, when the timing is right. We'll need to raise some cash for the exploration work on at Love Lake. That's the only use of proceeds this stage. Everything else is carried, and certainly some working capital to pay the lawyers and the transfer agents and And
always.
Don't forget our stock exchanges that allow access to public capital, and you know, all those fees need to be paid too.
Well, yeah. Well, I know. There's a lot of bills when it comes to junior exploration and no income. But I'm just trying to get an idea from you. 300 is not a lot, right?
No.
But you must have, and be unreasonable to think that you won't. You're at that stage. You're in a very early stage exploration play, and I think you've been smart bringing in big deep pocket partners. That makes sense. But you're going to have to go out and raise some capital just to kind of keep things moving along at Love Lake. Yep. And as you say, there's always running costs. I don't think, I'm not trying to catch you out here. I'm just trying to get a sense of what are you doing, because you got to make plans. You're running a business here. You've got to make plans. So you're going to need some money in soon. So do you know how much, when? I get the bills, but is it all going to go into Love Lake? Have you got any kind of liabilities or responsibilities with the other two projects?
Yeah, no. We could use $500,000 to explore Love Lake this year to bring it up to a drill stage.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, I mean, our monthly burn is about $50,000 a month to pay all the bills and keep our contractors and myself and Ken involved in the company. $1 million in working capital will get us through past 18 to 24 months.
Okay. I mean the truth is you could sit back and do nothing for a couple of years, wait to see what Orano does and what Rio does, and at that point you've got to be able to tell a story based on their data to allow you to take your, I think it's 20% and 30% option there. You're gonna need to match their plans. Now those could be huge plans. I mean, so how does it again work for juniors when Rio comes in and says, "Yep, we've got $100 million plan set out here. You're going to need to put in your 20 million."
20%.
Yeah. So, what are your options then? How's that work?
Yeah. Well, when we get to that point, and we're anticipating that we will be at that point.
Yeah.
Part of the agreement was we can secure we can go to a debt financing of our 20% if we get to the stage where it's actual construction type situation.
Is that likely? Are they likely to come back having spent their money and say we're now kind of construction ready? Or are they going to be
not after 30 million?
No, I know, right? So what's
not
the more likely
30 million?
Of course not.
That's down the road.
So what's the more likely scenario?
The likely scenario is that once they get into the full feasibility kind of stage, that we would be able to raise financing either through strategic partners or if that may want product at the end of the day, for instance, project type financing type scenario, or if the equity markets are good, we should be able to raise our 20% interest.
Okay. Okay.
That's the game plan. The game plan is to stay in. That's why we made it 20% instead of a 30% joint venture, because in the past I've seen a lot of it's often difficult in big projects to raise 30 or 40 or 50% of the money. But hey, if you come up with 1/5, you've got a real asset.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess it's play it by ear and nearer the time. A lot of work to be done by both Orano and Rio Tinto between now and then, right?
A long way from that.
But okay. So I think that's a really nice run through of the assets. I do appreciate your time going through that, Rick. I mean, it's a new story to us. It's a small story, but I'm always interested in how people are thinking and planning things out. And I like your model of getting these strategics in. Obviously, it takes a lot of pressure off of you guys. and your burn rate seems to be reasonable. This is no lifestyle company.
Yeah, no, we're geos that are actually want to make a discovery. That's going to be the biggest.
Right.
That'll be the biggest surprise for us.
Beautiful, Rick.
And yeah, and we're in it for the shareholders. Let's. I mean, we think the shareholders are going to do well by buying Forum shares.
Okay, well, look, let's stay in touch. Let's get into a bit more detail next time, certainly around, shares and money and how things are going. But appreciate your time today. Thank you again.
All right. We'll see you then. Thanks, Matt.